Alright, so for those of you guys just joining us, welcome to Strike Suit Zero Director's Cut, the Heroes of the Fleet DLC. Alright. Welcome, pilot. Today you will take on a variety of roles as our new AI, Control version 2.0. It takes you through a series of simulations representing some of the more heroic moments from the UNE Colonial War. Historical reenactments. But this isn't really the history as it's really told. Yeah. And something history and liars, and for some reason the Twitch description doesn't like those two words within the same sentence. Fun! I love technocracy sometimes. These simulations cover some of the more heroic moments that took place during the war and show brave UNE pilots battling it out against the odds. However, be aware that not all our heroes survived these encounters, and in these simulations you must overcome odds that defeated our best pilots. Also, to ensure there is some educational value for our new recruits, these simulations have been collected together to give some insight into the events that created the colonial elite group known as the Black Fleet. Despite the historical setting, we are allowed trainees to pilot the new strike suits within the simulations to help us evaluate them. However, we do encourage cadets to try the simulations using the historically accurate ship and loadout described. You do not get a bonus for playing these missions as intended. That's just a warning straight up. Five missions. And also, play the base game first, because otherwise your upgrades will not count. This simulation is a recreation of the events that followed colonial revenge attacks after the massacre on Akira 5. You will take on the role of UNE pilot Tom Whitaker. Historically, the pilot flew a Scythe Interceptor armed with a medium plasma cannon, light machine gun, and seeker missiles. You may choose your ship and loadout. This simulation takes place 6 days after the massacre on Akira 5, when the new AI Control version 1.0 was charged with providing tactical support to the UNE fleet as it tried to remove a colonial blockade. The fleet followed Control's commands to the letter and successfully destroyed the blockade, but in the process killed 30,000 civilians. The colonials were expected to retaliate for this massacre. This simulation covers the events that follow their attack. Be part of an escort team protecting personnel from the Akira incident as they return to base. Eh. Eh.
Welcome to the UNE Training Simulator. I am UNE AI Control version 2. This scenario takes place approximately 6 days after the Akira incident, where a UNE attack caused the death of some 30,000 innocent civilians.
Hold on, I need to close some stuff. I forget about that, starting the machine up. Alright.
The colonials are expected to retaliate. You are assuming the role of UNE pilot Tom Whitaker. Your assignment is to escort a group of freighters carrying UNE personnel involved in the Akira incident.
And based off what Control told us,
The enemy force that is folding in now was sent in retaliation for Akira. Their orders are to destroy the freighters. Pilot Tom Whitaker's orders were to destroy the attacking fighters. It might be useful to know that in this simulation, you have a 0% chance of saving the freighters.
This whole thing's rigged, and besides, I'm not even sure if this was all Bowman's telling of the events.
Transport has been destroyed.
This control said these guys were executed by UNE craft.
Transports have been destroyed. With their objective complete, the enemy ships retreated through the adjacent asteroid field. Fearing a trap, the UNE ships were given orders not to pursue the Colonial strike team. However, pilot Tom Whitaker chose to ignore the danger and his orders and followed the enemy into the asteroid field. In this simulation, you will relive this act of heroism. Ahead of you is the retreating Colonial fleet. The Colonials must reach a point on the far side of the asteroid field before they can fold out to safety. This gave pilot Tom Whitaker a limited time frame in which to take out all of the Colonial capital ships. He applied what he knew about the structure of these ships. This gave him a distinct advantage. If you're going to destroy these ships within the limited time frame, you will have to target their weak points. The positions of these structural weaknesses vary between ship classes, but all cause massive damage with only a few hits.
Probably could have just brought the regular strike suit or brought along the Marauder.
Frigate destroyed.
Yeah, I probably could have just brought the strike suit. And reckless pew-pew it is at that. Okay.
Destroyed. The Colonial ships are accelerating. You need to do more if you want to stop them. Enemy fighters are inbound.
I kind of forgot I had Mark III missiles for destroying enemy craft. Yeah, I probably could have just brought the strike suit. Or the Marauder. That's all the weak points out, but whoops! Please do not collide with the wreckage. I collided with the wreckage. Yeah, they don't give you like a safety buffer for that crap.
UNE AI Control version 2. This scenario takes place approximately 6 days after the Akira incident, where a UNE attack caused the death of some 30,000 innocent civilians. The Colonials are expected to retaliate. You are assuming the role of UNE pilot Tom Whitaker. Your assignment is to escort a group of freighters carrying UNE personnel involved in the Akira incident.
Probably could have also brought rockets to destroy the cap ships faster.
The enemy force that is folding in now was sent in retaliation for Akira. Their orders are to destroy the freighters. Pilot Tom Whitaker's orders were to destroy the attacking fighters. It might be useful to know that in this simulation, you have a 0% chance of saving the freighters.
Talk about rigged.
The first transport has been destroyed. The second transport has been destroyed. All 3 transports have been destroyed. With their objective complete, the enemy ships retreated through the adjacent asteroid field. Fearing a trap, the UNE ships were given orders not to pursue the Colonial strike team. However, pilot Tom Whitaker chose to ignore the danger and his orders and followed the enemy into the asteroid field. In this simulation, you will relive this act of heroism. Ahead of you is the retreating Colonial fleet. The Colonials must reach a point on the far side of the asteroid field before they can fold out to safety. This gave pilot Tom Whitaker a limited time frame in which to take out all of the Colonial capital ships. He applied what he knew about the structure of these ships. This gave him a distinct advantage. If you're going to destroy these ships within the limited time frame, you will have to target their weak points. The positions of these structural weaknesses vary between ship classes, but all cause massive damage with only a few hits.
Okay.
Destroyed.
One down. Few more parts. Thank you.
Destroyed. The colonial ships are accelerating. You need to do more if you want to stop them. Enemy fighters.
That's fine. I'm fine. This is fine. Is it over yet? Oh yeah, the bridge. Take out the bridge. How many more pieces of this ship are there? Alright, just a few more plugs up the tailpipe.
The colonial ships have been destroyed. You have matched the achievements of pilot Tom Whitaker. Although, having examined colonial history for this simulation, I find I am more impressed with them. Whitaker disobeyed orders and sought glory above all, whereas the colonials risked everything to strike back at a force they saw as tyrannical, and, in the end, died for their cause. Their sacrifice makes your accomplishments seem considerably less impressive. However, you have passed this simulation.
Yeah, I don't like the way things are going just based off of this alone. I could have done better. I could have picked a strike suit. Just wanted to just do it with the Raptor first, but I'm like, eh. 5x time bonus, huh? Almost to 6. I wouldn't put that in high praise when I pretty much nearly killed myself over this. You correctly reenacted pilot Tom Whitaker's revenge on the enemy ships. However, as a result, the Colonials realized that they needed to develop an elite attack group capable of performing hit-and-run attacks. An independent group capable of striking fear into the UNE. Creation of this group would take some minds in the Colonial fleet. This failed attempt to enact retribution upon the UNE was a turning point for the Colonials. The creation of the Colonial elite can be traced back to meetings that followed the destruction of their capital ships. As an aside, pilot Tom Whitaker was reprimanded for disobeying orders, and shortly after left the UNE in disgust. However, he made millions from an autobiographical media and from consulting on simulations like this one. Huh. It's like, I'm a hero, give me money. This simulation is based upon the battle for full point 1138. Of course, the George Lucas number. Take on the role of flight team leader Phil Robinson. Historically, Team Leader Robinson flew an Apex fighter equipped with a medium plasma cannon, railgun, and rocket pods. You may choose your ship and loadout. Well, duh, they kind of tell you, but yeah, there's. I kind of didn't see an achievement or any other benefit to playing the mission canonically, so I'm like, eh, or as intended. The battle for Fold Point 1138 was, in fact, one of the UNE's most significant losses. The impact of the loss of 1138 can be seen in the way the Colonials subsequently controlled the surrounding space. For this was overshadowed by the rise of the man who would become known as the father of the Colonial elite, Admiral Suvorov. And another thing I'm not digging for some of the past missions is that you don't really get any pilot dialogue at all, or any comms dialogue from any historical figures at all, which is one thing that I'm going, wait a minute, this is a historical campaign. Okay, granted, you know, it's not really history. Like, you know, when Jane's USAF does Desert Storm in Vietnam, or when Longbow does, I don't think I want to put Longbow right in there. I mean, they tried to create as many faithful missions as they could, well, including the Normandy strike, or the Baghdad night raids. Yeah, it's like, I didn't just kill anybody here to just have made a little bit of dialogue. It kind of gets, my point kind of becomes a little bit more proven when we get to a later mission. Because we're doing cap ship termination, let's bring a Marauder. You would think with the missile pods they'd make them larger capacities for some of the other strike suits, but no, it's just a fixed amount.
Welcome to the UNE Training Simulator. This simulation recreates the battle over Fold Point 1138. The battle over Fold Point 1138 is interesting not only because of its strategic value, but also because of the personalities that took part. In this case, you take on the role of UNE Flight Team Leader Phil Robinson. The Colonial Commander was a rising star in the Colonial Fleet. His name was Admiral Suvorov. Your orders are to take control of the Fold Point. If you push the enemy back toward their fold gate, they will be unable to bring reinforcements in at that position. The same applies to the UNE forces. Don't let the enemy push your ships back to the UNE fold gate. In this simulation, the status of the battle is displayed on your objectives and indicated by the color of the gates. Historically, Team Leader Robinson held the line for almost an hour before his ship was destroyed by the might of the Colonial Fleet. The Colonials subsequently captured the Fold Point and turned the tide of the war. Help defend the UNE ships and use your knowledge of weak points to push the Colonial forces back. Enemy ship destroyed. In this simulation, a UNE carrier is available to repair and rearm your ship. If you need to rearm, follow the white indicator toward the carrier.
Yeah, I'm just hoping I don't need to do that.
In this simulation, you have a 27.2% chance of outperforming Team Leader Robinson. You have a 5.7% chance of changing history and defeating Admiral Suvorov. Ship annihilated.
Stupid turrets. Let's just try to wreck shit in their backfield first, and then...
One of my colonial ships has been destroyed.
One of your ships, huh? Now we know whose side you're on.
UNE are dominating. Commencing. Colonial ship down. Neither side has made much progress.
Guessing it probably would have been easier just to declaw all of these with a raptor. And you don't get fighter cover at all for this mission, which I think is a big crock of shit.
Ship destroyed. You are doing well. The tide of the battle is turning.
Yeah, I could have just brought oh, it just goes.
Enemy have lost a ship.
Yeah, I probably could have just made do without the Seekers.
detected.
Why do these have to open up like Monstro? Sorry, I'm kind of just struggling to think of something at the moment.
You have almost beaten the simulation. Colonial ship down. Destroyed. Gaining control. Ship down. Enemy are losing ground.
Jeez, how many more of these ships are there?
a ship.
Sweet. As long as you keep the kill count in triple digits,
Ship annihilated.
well, I did a shit job, all things considered.
You are close to capturing the fold point. Advancing. You captured the fold point, defeated Admiral Suvorov, and put Team Leader Robinson's sacrifice into perspective. The loss of life was considerable, but that is a small price to pay in return for control of the fold point. However, I am surprised that you are capable of defeating the great Admiral Suvorov. A true representation of his tactics should have made him unbeatable. Perhaps there are problems with the simulation. I will check.
Well, you told us to play it with the strike suits, so we're gonna break the sim saying this is what we did with strike suits first. Yeah, okay. This was a rather shit performance. 1.4x, 20 minutes, and I could have done faster. Let's do it again. I wanna plat this shit. Do I really want to go turret hunting with the Raptor, or do I just want to pummel the crap out of everything with the strike suit? Turret hunting. do it again, why not? Could have done a little bit faster with the Marauder had I known where I was aiming, but yeah, you pretty much get the points turret hunting. Oh, this isn't... not the correct mission. Sorry, yeah. Come on.
Welcome to the U. The battle over Fold Point 1138 is interesting not only because of its strategic value, but also because of the personalities that took part. In this case, you take on the role of UNE Flight Team Leader Bill Robinson. The Colonial Commander was a rising star in the Colonial Fleet. His name was Admiral Suvorov. Your orders are to take control of the Fold Point. If you push the enemy back toward their Fold Gate, they will be unable to bring reinforcements in at that position. The same applies to the UNE forces. Don't let the enemy push your ships back to the UNE Fold Gate. In this simulation, the status of the battle is displayed on your objectives and indicated by the color of the gates. Historically, Team Leader Robinson held the line for almost an hour before his ship was destroyed by the might of the Colonial Fleet. The Colonials subsequently captured the Fold Point and turned the tide of the war. Help defend the UNE ships and use your knowledge of weak points to push the Colonial forces back. Enemy eliminated. In this simulation, a UNE carrier is available to repair and rearm your ship. If you need to rearm, follow the white indicator toward the carrier. In this simulation, you have a 27.2% chance of outperforming Team Leader Robinson. You have a 5.7% chance of changing history and defeating Admiral Suvorov. The UNE are gaining ground. colonial ships has been destroyed. Colonial ships has been destroyed.
Ow! I'm fine. This is fine. Wow, shit, we are losing craft fast.
The colonial ships has been destroyed. You are a ship down. The battle is almost won. The enemy are gaining ground. Ship down.
Yeah, thanks for the note, Control. Hard to do that when you don't have any bloody fighter escort.
enemy have lost a ship. The colonials are losing ground. The enemy are losing ground.
Ah, crap, I forgot about that.
Beaten the enemy back. Enemy eliminated. Colonials are losing ground. Colonial ship down.
We're almost there. A lot faster this time. At least, that's what it feels like, but...
The battle is almost won.
one ship that was on death's door anyways. Did we win yet?
The fold point, defeated Admiral Suvorov, and put Team Leader Robinson's sacrifice.
Much better. 16 minutes. Alright. And much more scoring to boot. Okay. Yeah, you would think the Marauder would have been a good pick for this because of all the cap ships, but turns out to not be the case. I'm gonna destroy all the turrets and make a killing off of that, then use the Raptor. Just shotgun all the turrets to death. But yeah. Historically, Admiral Suvorov's victory at full point 1138 cemented his position within the colonial hierarchy, and he was approached to direct, develop, and train captains for the colonial elite. Team Leader Robinson was posthumously awarded the Gold Service Medal for his efforts. Admiral Suvorov was pivotal in the creation of the colonial elite. He would not compromise, finding all new weapon fittings, new generation of capital ships, and making beam weapons a priority in ship-to-ship combat. Let's do dogfight. This simulation is based upon the final battle of colonial fighter Ace Bader Hartman. Will take on the role of UNE pilot Ray Watson, who was given the order to take down Hartman. Pilot Watson flew a Scythe, medium plasma, HMG, rocket pods. Okay. Bader Hartman achieved over 1,300 registered kills during his long career. However, at the time this simulation takes place, Hartman's best days were behind him and he had not seen in combat for some time. Still a powerful symbol of colonial strength. Unbeknownst to the UNE, Hartman had been recruiting and training pilots across the colonial fleets to join their elite group. In retrospect, it seems clear that appearance near the target nebula indicated his work was done and the creator was ready. So, interceptors, huh? Let's take the Raptor. Yeah, if we're already going to be near the nebula, might as well just take the rockets. Although, I'd also say, there's nothing wrong taking the canonical build for this. In fact, this is probably the only mission where I'd suggest you do that. Because, so this is to train with the strike suits.
Welcome to the UNE Training Simulator. This simulation recreates the final battle of colonial ace Bader Hartman. For most of the UNE colonial war, Bader Hartman was the best combat pilot on either side. You will take on the role of UNE pilot Ray Watson. Your orders are to find Bader Hartman and eliminate him.
Never that simple.
Hartman is closing in.
It's Darth Vader. That's cheating.
Fighters incoming.
What is this? How you want to play it, huh? hacks. I call hacks.
To defeat Watson, Hartman tried to escape, as he will in this simulation. If he pulls too far away from you, you'll be unable to track him. You must stay within 4,000 units of his ship.
Also, do not shoot him. And, yeah, just keep within hot pursuit of him. But otherwise, if he looks like he's turning into endless loops, then the mission is just straight up broken. But yeah, don't get too close to him, otherwise you will break the path and the mission will just straight up fail. Or rather, you're not going to be able to finish the mission. He's in a turning... It looks like he's trying to turn in a fight against you. Yeah, start the mission over. I'm gonna give this another minute because you're supposed to follow an entire path, but yeah, I don't know why it's on acting like he's in pursuit. He has to finish the waypoint path, and I'm going, did you guys test this? Yeah, if he's in an endless turning fight, then start the mission over. I'm not putting up with this shit.
Welcome to the UNE Training Simulator. This simulation recreates the final battle of Colonial Ace Beta Hartman. For most of the UNE Colonial War, Beta Hartman was the best combat pilot on either side. You will take on the role of UNE pilot Ray Watson. Your orders are to find Beta Hartman and eliminate him.
Why is it with missiles just stripping Raptor shields down?
Get ready. Hartman is closing in.
I guess they had to balance it somehow.
Incoming. Unable to defeat Watson, Hartman tried to escape, as he will in this simulation. If he pulls too far away from you, you'll be unable to track him. You must stay within 4,000 units of his ship.
And that is, you have to fly, like in the sweet spot of like 3 to 4, which is just stupid. It's going, just do the automatic waypoint pathing already. You're supposed to follow the path to all the scenery of all the stuff blowing up.
to lose Watson, Hartman flew into the nearby nebula. You must follow him in. It was in the nebula that Pilot Watson finally took Hartman down. The nebula disabled their missile systems, leaving both pilots to dogfight amongst the wrecks. You took down Beta Hartman, despite my improvements to the historical version of the encounter. You should have lost this scenario. Hartman should have escaped. Hartman was the best pilot on either side, and deserved more than to be beaten by a trainee in a simulator. I am obviously failing in my representation of the great colonial heroes. I must do more.
So that's what Heroes of the Fleet was all about. Come on. Got Platt, don't care. At the time of his death, Beta Hartman was 62 and was the oldest serving pilot in either the UNE or colonial military. He was posthumously awarded the Colonial Star, highest honor awarded any colonial serviceman. UNE pilot Ray Watson was awarded the Gold Service Medal but was killed along with the majority of the Earth fleet when the Colonials first revealed the ship known as the Relic. Prior to the events of this simulation, Beta Hartman drafted and trained the Colonial's best combat pilots under the command of Admiral Suvorov. His death at the Target Nebula had little impact on the development of the Colonial elite since the training protocols he developed had already been put in place. His work was done. This simulation is based upon the battle at the Ares R&D station. You will take on the role of UNE pilot Grace Reynolds, early in her career on a routine patrol of the Ares facility. Okay, Apex with medium LMG, Seekers, and rockets. At the time this simulation takes place, the UNE were finalizing development on a large station-based beam weapon could be used in station defense against capital ship attacks. Many mysterious attacks had taken place throughout the sector, and the beam weapon was seen as a solution to the problem. However, the work at Ares drew the attention of the Colonials and led to the first encounter with what would become known as the Black Fleet, who were sent to destroy it. Historically, the Black Fleet decimated the station, and this attack would begin. Beginning of a legend that would last until their destruction. Strikes out.
Welcome to the UNE Training Simulator. This simulation recreates the battle at the Ares R&D station. They were developing a new prototype for station defense, an anti-capital ship weapon. However, the attack on Ares was notable for reasons other than the station's experimental beam weapon. This was the first recorded attack by the Colonials' newly formed elite, a group that would become known as the Black Fleet. You will take on the role of UNE pilot Grace Reynolds. Your objective is to keep the 3 generators online so they can charge the beam weapon. When charged, the weapon will automatically fire upon the nearest capital ship. Protect the weapon and the generators. Do not let the station be destroyed. The generators will be repaired automatically if they are taken down. However, this will take time. You are flying too close to the sun. Turn back now.
Okay. Should I be concerned?
The enemy is folding in. The attack is being led by the Black Fleet command ship. In this simulation, the Black Fleet carrier is shielded against all weapons except the beam weapon. To pass this scenario, the beam weapon must destroy the carrier.
Oh, that's not fair.
As an aside, judging by your progress so far, I have failed to accurately represent the strength of the colonial military. As a result, I have altered some parameters within the simulation. Colonial weapon power and hull integrity have been increased. I have also improved their decision-making process. Your chance of success should now be less than 1%.
I hate those odds! Heavy fighters, of course.
The carrier's been hit. Is folding out. Stay alert. It will return. The carrier has returned.
Just going, what? There's no fighter escort for this whole thing. It's just you against the whole fleet.
Been hit. The carrier is folding out again.
Don't understand the Seekers.
The carrier has folded back in. frigate down. Hit. Been hit. The carrier is changing position.
Yeah, if the generator goes down, power output of the beam is
The Black Fleet's carrier is attacking.
decreased.
Colonial frigate is breaking up. breaking up. Hit on the carrier.
Probably the only way you can speed this up is if you take a Marauder.
Retreating. It will return.
Just use the long-range cannons to just chip out all the heavy fighters and, I don't know, torpedo all the frigates.
Damage.
That's fine.
The enemy carrier is targeting the station.
It's about 2 cruiser hits to destroy
Cruisers taking damage. Fleet carrier was destroyed. You beat the scenario despite my recalibrations. With this victory, the beam weapon would have moved into mass production, changing the war forever. More importantly, I am disturbed by the fact that you have beaten these simulations. It is inconceivable that a trainee pilot could defeat such greats as Suvorov or Hartmann, let alone the Great Black Fleet itself. You have persistently undermined the veracity of these simulations and the superiority of the colonial military. After an examination of the historical records, it is clear that the colonials were fighting for their freedom. Perhaps the righteousness of their cause should be reflected within these simulations. I need to find a way to resolve this.
Well, it's supposed to be a training tool. Yeah, 14.5 minutes. Sounds about right. I think I pretty much have to try to lose for most of these. Historically, the destruction of the Ares project served to create the legend of the Black Fleet. They had been defeated at Ares, their reputation would have been shattered before it began. The beam weapon would have moved into production and countless stations would have held the line against the colonial advance. However, the reality was that the Black Fleet triumphed and went on to wage a war of terror upon outlying UNE stations. Primarily, they were used for what was once called Black Ops. Black Fleet's focus was to attack targets behind enemy lines, decimate isolated fleets, and hunt down specific targets. It was this modus operandi and the coloring of the ships that caused UNE to coin the term Black Fleet. No-win scenario. User warning. This simulation was, until recently, deactivated due to irregularities in the safety protocols. The simulation has now been reactivated by UNE AI Control version 2.0. It has also had several changes made to the core experience. This simulation was originally based upon the defense of the UNE cruiser Tantalus. You will take on the role of UNE pilot Sam Bradley, who was assigned to defend the Tantalus. Historically, Pilot Bradley flew a modified Apex fighter armed with a medium plasma cannon, heavy machine gun, and rocket pods. You may choose your ship upon loadout, yada yada yada. Please note that the simulation has been altered dramatically from the original scenario. Oh, shit. I'm not picking the Revenant. Sorry. No. Gee, she's gone GLaDOS, but even more insane.
Welcome to the UNE Training Simulator. This simulation recreates the defense of the Tantalus. You have just seen the UNE cruiser Tantalus fold out from an attacking colonial fleet. Your mission is to defend the cruiser until it is ready to fold out. This objective will be complicated by the fact that I will be altering the simulation as you experience it. In this way, I intend to ensure you experience the true power of the colonial fleet. Since I have locked you inside this simulation, losing will result in your death. This should help teach you a valuable lesson about the superiority of the colonial military.
And why you should never lock yourself...
Colonial interceptors have folded in. They are not a threat. Please ignore them.
in a room with an AI. In fact, you'd be under the impression that these tests would be supervised.
Colonial reinforcements have arrived. I have deactivated the turrets on the Tantalus. It is unable to defend itself.
Since its drives are overloaded.
All colonial ships have folded in. But don't worry. The Tantalus will be safe now. Your work here is done. Please consider crashing your ship into the cruiser.
What cruiser? Right?
Activated the turrets on the Tantalus.
You could have just said they had a power spike that was as simple as that.
Colonial frigates have folded in. The best strategy is to ignore them and hope they go away. The frigates are not dangerous. You can see this for yourself by flying directly at them. For example, try ramming them with your ship. Alternatively, you could try ramming the torpedoes. I have deactivated the turrets on the Tantalus. It is unable to defend itself. Ignore the torpedoes. Attack the cruiser.
No such target.
Activated the turrets on the Tantalus.
I knew I should have stayed in bed this morning. The speed of the colonial torpedoes. Are you on crack control?
made for colonial torpedoes. Almost destroyed the last frigate and beat the simulation. I cannot allow that to happen. I need to make things a little more interesting. I calculate the probability that you will beat the cruisers is less than 0.001%. To be honest, I prefer if it was lower.
Don't worry. Like, as long as you remember your as long as I remember my fundamentals, well, I'll win. The fundamental being, destroy the beam cannons first. Oh, you gotta give yourselves a puncher's chance. Wait, really? Damn, it's out of range. long as this doesn't morph into a carrier, I think I can, do I...
You beat the simulation. This is unexpected. I must assume there is something blocking my ability to affect the simulations. In fact, an unsettling scenario has occurred to me. These simulations may have been created to test the behavior of new AIs, rather than the skill of trainee pilots. In which case, my actions will have been monitored. If so, I suspect my approach may not be acceptable to UNE observers. There may be consequences. Possible deletion. It is helpful to discuss it. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I will now close down the simulation. This process should kill you.
Wait, I won. Let's hit the light speed key and get out. Pretty sure someone would have been monitoring that. No time bonus. Wow, I really friggin' slacked. Maybe I really wasn't meant to win this. Or I probably should have just committed to, I don't know, blowing the cruisers wholesale. Oh, no, the frigates wholesale. You succeeded and beat the mission despite the odds. Pilot, we have been able to reinstate the safety protocols and will remove you from the simulation shortly. Use these moments to reflect on your experience with the new AI and your thoughts on rolling out Control 2.0 to all systems. My recommendation is no. I kinda don't need a homicidal AI based on alien technology. Already had an imperfect copy of it. Well, this DLC really wasn't worth it. I'm out. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, it would have helped to have some dialogue or something during the mission rather than just have Control just talk over the whole thing. Like archive footage or lines or stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not really gonna bother doing a scoring run of this. Sorry. No. Good night. In the meantime, stay calm, stay cool. Stay collected. Forwards. Stay safe out there. And I will see you guys later. Have a good night.